GameRanx brings you the top 10 things that make gamers go, God damn it! Number 10. Long tutorials. Now, a lot of games have a ridiculous tendency to go on and on and on explaining exactly how to play them, despite the lack of a need to really go into much detail beyond the most simple. Once you understand the controls, you don't need it repeated to you, you just need to practice it. And the only real way to do that is to play the game, rather than go through a boring version of the game that sort of limits what you do to specifically one action they really want you to get right before you move on. But the absolute worst offenders are sequels. I get it. There will be people that have not played the original or the previous sequel, and they need to know how to play it. Fair enough. But the big problem is often the tutorials make you feel as if they don't necessarily trust you, or maybe even find you that intelligent, for that matter. A tutorial really should only give you the basics of the game and let you build with your own style and your own brain working. On the flip side, if it takes 40 minutes to explain the basics of a game, maybe there's a minor design flaw that could have been refined a little bit. Number 9, invisible walls. There's a lot of gorgeous, expansive environments out there in video games, ones that seem like they go on forever. But as we all know, they can't. It's not possible to go on forever, especially if the game is narrative driven. So you go off to the end of the open world. You can't go any further. It's not physically possible because they didn't make anything beyond that area. What stops you? Nothing. And it looks like you're running at something, but you're not. You just run in place and run and run and run. Number 8, game-breaking glitches. Now, this one's fairly obvious, is it not? I buy a game, I play a game, and I can't do something because there's a glitch. Not something that's patched, which, by the way, patches are pretty annoying as well. We'll talk about that later. But a game-breaking glitch that's just there. Lots of big games have game-breaking glitches in them that have nothing done about them for months. Sometimes never. And I'm not talking about the funny glitches that we make videos about. I'm talking about stuff that ruins the game, like... Number 7, no dedicated multiplayer servers on the PC. Now, if you ask me, this gripe can mean several things. The first of which is when a game becomes outdated and they shut down all the servers for it, and really that was the reason you still played the game. And then fans have to set up servers and it gets super complicated. You have to change internal configuration files in order to accommodate their server. And the other less well-treaded way of this being super annoying is when people release a game that actually relies on players to set up servers. Like, they keep talking about games as a service, but there are still games that come out like this. And that's not games as a service. That's just dumb. Number 6, patch breaking previous saves. Okay, they finally fixed the issue with the game that was driving you up the wall. You know that going forward, you're never going to have to deal with that issue again. It's bugged you like crazy in the past, and you're just like, yes, they did it. And just download the patch and wait for it to install, and okay, very good. Load up my save, and it crashed. Or it removes a whole bunch of experience points. Or hey, some items are gone. Or that tower I built, just not there. Fix one thing, screw up something else. It's just tremendously frustrating to know that they spent all that time working on something only to create another problem. And I'm not saying that this is the worst problem in the world. It's actually fairly uncommon. But when it does happen, it's just like, God. Number 5, a bad PC port. Bad port. Oh, I wonder why I used that specific theme song. In a day when console gaming is probably the most profitable, a lot of the time AAA developers spend most of the time developing for a console. And in no way should it be, but they will oftentimes look at the PC version as an afterthought. And considering how many people do play games on PC, that's just absurd. To actually have a team in charge of the PC port with more than 12 people on it seems fairly appropriate. In no way am I saying that PC gaming, or console gaming for that matter, is better than the other, but there are people that spend thousands of dollars making custom gaming machines that blow consoles out of the water, at least technically speaking, and seeing the version that is made for those not run as well as the console is a bit insulting. It does get a little bit weird when people start tying their identities to the performance of a game on their computer, but it is in no way respectful to the consumer to just crap out a PC port. Number 4, microtransactions. Oh sure, you can play the game without them, but you can bet your sweet ass that somebody spent as much time as possible making it super hard for you without the microtransactions. That's why every 5 seconds something tells you you need to spend a couple bucks on something that seems useless. Why is this game so hard? Oh, it's because we make you pay in order for it to not be. And then on every menu it's there as a looming insult. Well, you could just buy 1,000 coins and this could get built much quicker. You do need that, don't you? Oh yeah, I know. I designed it. F you. I'm not saying there is no situation where microtransactions are good. I'm saying there are almost no developers that give a shit enough about the consumer to do the work to make a microtransaction business model into not the worst thing you've ever experienced, because frankly, it's usually just shady if you ask me. And it's not always mobile games that suffer. It just seems like it's mostly mobile games. Number 3, the day one patch. Oh yeah, that. The thing that bugs me about this is it basically tells you that they didn't care enough to finish the game before releasing it. The game that I spent 50, 60 bucks on. I worked hard for that money. I looked forward to this game. I've read a lot about it. I've seen a lot of footage, and it seemed like it was gonna be pretty great. And it might be. It might be the most fantastic game in the world. But on the first boot up, when I get that damn patch needed screen and it starts downloading it, I just shake my head. Like, why not just plan to have enough time to finish the game? Could you do that? Number 2, DRM. Digital rights management software arguably serves a purpose. From a business perspective, I get it. In order for the production cost to be worth it, there needs to be some kind of insurance that people have to pay for it. But is there not some way you could do this without completely ruining the game? You either have installation problems, or you end up with some kind of really awful, slow version of the game that doesn't work right. It seems like it's becoming less of a problem, but as that happens, when a company uses it and you see it screw up their game, you just want to say, you know what? I'd have bought it anyway. You didn't need to do this at all. And the number one thing that makes gamers go, God damn it, is unnecessary DLC exclusives for pre-orders. First off, when there's DLC out day one, it seems like there's a lot of the game that has been walled off specifically so you have to make more purchases. But in an attempt to make you pay for the game before it's out and before you experience it and before you have to deal with any of the problems the game has, before you can hear about people complaining about those problems, before you can read about it on the internet or talk to your friends about it, before any of that, you fork over that cash, and in turn you get to play as Harley Quinn, even though you probably should have gotten that anyway, because it was completed for the game before the game was released. I don't even need to keep going. You know exactly what's wrong with these pre-ordered exclusives. As we get hip to what they're doing, they'll start to realize they have to do something that isn't terrible, hopefully. But man, really annoying. Did anything on this list particularly ring true for you? Leave a comment detailing that. Also, if you have one that you find particularly annoying that wasn't included, by all means. While you're at it, you might want to subscribe to GameRanx. We upload a lot of great videos like this one and quite a few other types of videos like giveaways, lists, funny stuff, really everything that gamers could ask for, other than more games, obviously. We certainly appreciate you watching this video. Thanks a whole lot for doing that. We will see you next time.